that just thrust me straight into the highest level of everything.
Deeper.
Highest level of contract negotiation, highest level of interacting with individuals. The way the term super mega came from is because Don Jazzy had a song called Doro Mega, and like we were always like, yeah, dude, you're on a superstar mentality, like you're actually a mega superstar. And then Don Jazzy's song made us like kind of put those together. It's like, yeah, you're super mega, like super epic mega.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy. You know, we signed Costa Titch.
Yeah.
I met Costa Titch at one of my clients' briefings actually.
And it was a lot of people.
Yeah,
Shout out to SPR.
It was a lot
you fed a lot of people. It changed a lot of people's lives.
I take you and whoever has been with you or around you, and then we give them that education for free, because at some point you run yourself. Nobody is run by, one company forever and ever. Amen.
Tear gas.
Well, as soon as I started working with her, I stopped working with tear gas. Essentially, tear gas and cash out. Guys, let me tell you, Linda Mtoba and Tan Tshabalala would turn down 150,000 Rand for one Instagram reel.
Do you believe that every artist needs a manager? Welcome to More Than Management, your go-to podcast for all things talent management. In each episode, we talk with masterminds behind some of the biggest names in music, sports, fashion, and television. We learn the art of brand building, high-stake negotiations, and maintaining a celebrity public image. I'm your host, Ntando Zigalala, and you're invited to the conversation. And then your journey began as a road manager for Josie. Take me through everything, how it started, and Universal being an intern and you becoming a road manager.
I think it obviously started at Universal. I think straight out of college. So I went to college. I did public relations for 2.5 years. Then I dropped out before my final year was complete, because we couldn't pay the rest of the tuition. Luckily, because my mom knew a few people, she managed to get me an internship at Universal Music, which was great. I think that was after I decided really what I want to do for myself. So she helped me kind of propelled me into that space. And that's where I kind of began my music career, essentially, and my education around music, because I didn't really go to music school or go to sound engineering school where they teach you about music laws. I kind of just learned everything as I grow. So yeah, my journey began at Universal Music. And then just flourished from there.
Okay, fine. So then get the internship at Universal. What's the first day like?
I don't remember the first day, to be honest.
What do you remember?
I remember walking into the building. I forgot where it was at the time. But it's always been in central area, around Sanson, if I'm not mistaken. And Pravincent, one of my mom's friends, was the person to welcome me there because he was working there. So I basically started under his department. And yeah, first day was just first day, I guess just coming off college, I was just always confident in myself. So I was never really nervous to be in any space. I think nerves are there, but then, you just always lean on what you know, which is just being confident. And I went to grade school, so I had no problem handling myself in a social setting or that type of environment. So, first day was pretty good. It's just sort of getting to know everybody, being introduced and understanding what my role as a junior would be.
What was the role?
For the first few bits, it was just bringing coffee and stuff like that.
First few minutes, and
not first few minutes. I just mean from the first few weeks, you just getting the environment of the office. I'm just basically a runner, essentially. Getting people coffee, sitting in on meetings, taking minutes. Just the basics. Just kind of acclimatizing to the environment, what's happening, because I had no formal qualification or, formal educational background where I could come into an immediate official position of any sort. So, I just started basically doing the basics, just being around.
So what shifted for you? What changed? What made you go from getting coffee to then getting more responsibility? How did that happen?
I think that solely relies on you, especially if you somebody with no any form of official qualification of any sort. It was the shift happens when you become obsessed with what you're doing and
Yeah.
you want to learn from other people. So luckily I was dialed in from moment one. Like even just through delivering coffee and being around, I kind of always used to listen in on conversations, started picking up the language. So it was just me like showing interest and really like being attentive in the space that really shifted sort of how the team looked at me, and kind of elevated me to my first like assistant role in a sense. Yeah, so I think just being attentive in the space that you're in kind of changed the way the team looked at me, and then elevated me to my first like assistant sort of role in the publishing department, which was cool. And I think I'm grateful for starting in that actual department because that's where really the meat and the education of like the technicality of the music business. It's a good base to start before
Yeah.
going into, more of the heavy stuff, like the law behind it and stuff. So
Okay, but you do have like an advantage, right? Like your music is in your DNA,
yes,
right? Like
yes.
it's
Like it's embedded
you.
in me.
There's
Yeah.
nothing you couldn't run away from this.
I
Everything
couldn't.
that's happened to you is because it was meant to be. It was
Yeah,
ordained.
I always say this. I always think I was really like, to be honest, when I was in high school, I wanted to be a geologist.
Really?
Yeah, like geography was my favorite subject. I always thought, I'm gonna be surveying, quantity surveying, doing all sorts of things. Like, I really envisioned myself as a geologist. But then I think towards like grade 10, 11, I obviously started getting nervous because I wasn't so great academically in
Yeah.
school. I wasn't like the brightest.
Like
but
C's. Were you getting like C's?
yeah, like I was very average dude, as
Okay.
a student. So I started getting nervous like around grade 11. But then I think when I was in my matric year, I kind of just knew to like, I don't know why am I nervous? And that's why I picked public relations like when I went to college.
Yeah.
But I think college was when my first year in college was actually the day I told myself that there's nothing else you should be doing but this because it's in you. Like it's
in
at
you.
home. Like you've seen this thing. So it was just about like, owning myself in that, like, or giving myself confidence. It's like, yeah, this is what I'm meant to be. Like,
Okay, let's go back in where Sbusiso grew up. How many siblings do you have? What's the household like? What's happening at home on a day-to-day?
So I have 9 siblings.
9.
Yes, 9. So
I didn't know that.
you didn't?
Combined, like from both your mom?
Yes, from both my mom.
From both your mom and your dad. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so on my mom's side, I'm the firstborn of 5.
Okay.
With 3 lovely sisters, and 1 beautiful brother.
So you're a big brother.
So I'm a big brother on my mom's side. Okay. And then on my dad's side, I'm the secondborn, 2 boys, 2 girls.
Okay.
So it's mainly sisters in my crawl. Like if I put everything together, just 3 boys and 6 sisters, which is amazing. I never grew up with both my parents. I'm actually a grandmother's boy.
Really?
Yeah, like on both sides of my parents, because my parents were always like away working when I was young. So I was raised pretty much by my grandparents on both sides. In Orlando for my mom's side, and then Kwamashu on my dad's side.
So very rich heritage. Orlando and Kwamashu
Kwamashu
is very, very rich.
It's
built
extremely
a lot of
rich.
character.
I'd like to say that I'm a fully blown KZNer and a fully blown like Kautengalenga. Like I'm.
Okay, wait. What do you identify as? Do you identify as someone from Soweto, someone from KZN, or a North boy?
Oh, that's hilarious. I identify as a Sowetan.
Really?
Yes. I mean, I was born in Baragwanath.
Me too. You were born in Baragwanath.
Yeah, I was born in Baragwanath. So scientifically, Inkabi Yami iwele Soweto, but traditionally Inkabi Yami was Zulu. Because I'm Zulu, obviously. So yeah, but I identify as Sowetan through and through. Okay.
So in your background as your your mom was in a girl band.
Yes, crazy.
Right? She was in a
Yeah.
girl band. My mom was actually showing me footage of her.
Pictures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's a music video. We watched the whole music video the other day. And then Chico Twala is your stepdad.
Yes, correct.
Right? And then your dad is Mbambo.
Yes,
Right.
100%.
So what was that like for you? Like, what was let's say your teenage years, what were they like for you?
My
Did you know who you were?
Of course.
Did you 100%?
Yes. I mean, yes. We knew 100% because, you know, my parents were touring from before we were born. You know, my dad was organizing tours before I was born. So by the time, like, you know, I was born, you know, my parents had me quite young. My dad was 21, my mom was 18. And they met on tour, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think we always knew, like, growing up, like, what was happening. Like, it was never like nobody was trying to, like, shield us or hide it, like, from us or whatever. It was just like, yo, this is what it is. And, you know, I mean, it's fun to be around. It's a fun space to be around. So to answer your question, my teenage years were quite interesting because my parents were never together. So it was a typical, like nigger family type setup, like a black people type setup where your parents aren't together and you're being raised by your grandparents on both sides.
Yeah.
And, you know, like my parents had a crazy, like, weird relationship. Like my parents they weren't even together for 3 months. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. When I was conceived, like I was conceived and my mom was like 3 months pregnant and then they like broke up or whatever.
Hectic.
Right?
Okay.
Like hectic like that. So they never really spoke my entire life, basically. Like,
that is hectic.
Yeah, it's like I would always it'll always either be me or like my grandmother or grandfather on my dad's side.
Okay.
That would be like the intermediaries between him and her. So they never really spoke until my dad passed away last year in October. And my parents spoke for the first time like 6 months before my dad died. Well, actually, 3 months before my dad died. Like properly, you know, like after 30 odd years.
That
after
is
like
insane.
36 years or whatever it is.
That is crazy. That is it is actually a typical nigger home.
Yeah,
that's exactly
you know?
What happens. Yeah.
And I was like,
because when I think of my parents, they don't speak. They haven't spoken. There's no need for them to speak. Like,
yeah, and I was like,
there's no need for them to speak except for like.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it was, but I always had love, like in my families. I never felt a gap. You know, the fact that they weren't together, like, didn't really bother me that much. You know,
what would you say is your favorite or your most memorable moment in your childhood? Like one that you can always remember. And you're just like, that makes me smile.
Damn, that's tough. I think starting primary school in Potchefstroom Senior Primary was like one of the most memorable times of my life because it was like we were going to boarding school in grade 4, which was crazy. So like you were away from home.
Was it all boys?
No, it was a co-ed school.
Co-ed, okay.
Yeah, it was a co-ed boarding school, Potchefstroom Senior Primary. I'm a shippy boy through and through. So I think that's one of the most memorable memories of my childhood. I think it was super cool, like going away to school, like 3 hours away from home, and being with my brother in that environment, Nipo, who's the firstborn on my dad's side.
So he would be your older brother?
Yeah, he's my older brother. I think other older siblings, like he's the one that I'm truly closest with. We really grew up together. Like had twin birthdays because we like born 10 days apart.
Okay.
Like 1 year and 10 days apart in August. So yeah, like he's really my guy. So yeah, it was super cool like going away to school with him to Potchefstroom and like being away from like the supervision of our gran and like his mom and like, you know. So that was really memorable. I think all the times.
So you went from grade 4 all the way to matric at the same school?
No. No. It wasn't that simple. But I think that, and also the first time I went to a live show, which was, I think, 1996, Kings Park Stadium, to a Boom Shaka show that my dad was organizing.
Okay.
I think as a kid, that was like pretty.
So you have backstage pass?
I mean, from you know what I'm saying.
From when you were a kid,
From
you've
when I
always
was a
had
kid,
you've always had the entrance that we don't know about.
Yeah, the only shows that I never got to see were my mom's and my stepdad's shows, which is pretty crazy because by that time they were already like touring France and Europe and like doing crazy shit. Like my stepdad is one of the only artists that actually never left the country and wasn't on exile in that era. So they were really like in the mix of things politically. They were. I mean, they were part of some of the biggest sort of songs at the time. So I'm sad that I couldn't see them perform.
Yeah. Okay, so your first live show is definitely a memory that you'll always remember. Boom Shaka, you're there. Tell me everything. So you get there. You're in the bus. Are you with the artists? How's it working? Like what's that feeling?
Like we just arrived like with my uncle. Like once the whole thing was set up.
Okay.
So we just pulled up with my uncle, and I just remember like seeing these gorgeous ladies on stage, like turning it up. Me and my brother were like, "What is happening?"
But you knew Boom Shaka, right?
Yeah, we knew. I mean, the song was huge at the time. I think it was "It's About Time," and they had the hair and the Doc Martens. It was just like, yo, this is crazy.
Wait, how old are you at this point?
To be honest, I don't remember. But I think I must have been in grade 5 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. So now you're at Universal. Things are going great. You are an assistant in publishing and you like it? You want more?
I think I did. I don't know if I liked it. I just knew that, like, you have to do this. Like, because I knew how important the education of it was, but like, I don't want to be in the office. I wanted to be like on the road because that's what I grew up seeing. Like with my dad, he was always on the road with like the big bands of Trumpis, like Brenda Fassie, whatever, like Boom Shaka and all these guys. So I knew that like that's where I wanted to end up, but I think the importance of understanding the business for me was a very big thing because also how I developed my passion for music was through listening to music as well. And I was very obsessed with like the Rockefeller Jay-Z era. Like it was a really big thing for me. Like I feel like I'm a student of the game based on that. So to understand music at that level, I knew that I had to start here before, I could see what else is there for me in the space.
And then how did your journey end at Universal? Like how did you make the decision as a young person, to make the decision, go to, okay, this is where this journey ends for me. I'm going to the next level.
I mean, I was an intern, so like it really just started, and then I think after like 8 months, it was just like, dude, it's time to move on, like, because they're not hiring me. I don't know whether I was doing well or not, or but I was just like, it's time to move on. Let me see what's already out there. And luckily, my friends were already in music at the time, doing well. So I just kind of like stuck closer to them. I knew like after this, let me just stick to people that I'm close to that are already doing this thing, and take what I've learned in this space and kind of like try to apply it there. So yeah, I just moved on from it. There wasn't really like
there wasn't an end to it.
Yeah.
Then enter the next phase of your life.
Yeah.
Right. You start working with Josie and
Deleuze. So the interesting story.
Where did you guys meet? Wait. Yeah. Where did you guys meet? How did you? Where is this happening? What social circles are you in, and where are they from a career perspective?
So I mean, obviously, backstory is me and Mongani are obviously like stepbrothers in a way because our parents got married.
Okay. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, like our parents were married.
I actually never thought of it like that.
Yeah,
okay.
Our parents were married. But the funny story about that is, and we never met until we were like in our 20s.
Really?
Which is the wildest thing. And you have to understand, like, he was always around because my stepdad obviously...
And you guys are more or less the same age, no?
Well, he's about 2 years older than me.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 2 years older.
So you should have actually, but...
Yeah, okay. We should have met, but I mean, the dynamics of the family at the time.
Yeah.
So obviously our parents were married, right? Which was crazy. And my stepdad, produced some of Bounce's mom's biggest songs. Like
Yeah.
they were always just part of like
what an
our thing.
interesting story, yeah.
But for some reason, we never made as kids. Then later on, my brother moved to Joburg like a year before me. Like because we obviously spent like the first half of our life in Durban with our dad's side of the family. So his mom got a job in Joburg, and then he moved. So he was living in Paulsdorf and going to St. Peter's. So my brother actually got to link up with like Les and Bonks before me, like early like high school vibes.
Okay.
So like Bryanston, everybody in Bryanston, obviously, if you're in Bryanston, people tend to hang out with each other. Like especially at the time, like early 90s, there weren't that many black families
so you had
in
to stick
Bryanston.
together.
So it was, I think like the black families always gravitated to each other. So
Yeah.
as I was saying, my brother moved a year before me. So he was actually friends with like Les and Punks before, and they were hanging out, whatever, north, whatever they were doing. And I was obviously still in Durban. So I moved a year later. And when I moved back, I went to like my mom's side of the family. So like when I came back, I didn't go straight to Soweto. I went to Springview. Stayed there with my mom's aunt for like a year. Hated it.
Really?
Hated it.
Why?
So
What
much.
made you hate it so much?
It just wasn't what I was used to, But whatever, it just needed to happen. So fast forward through high school, me and my brother like hadn't seen each other maybe for like 6 years or whatever it was. And then we decided to reconnect. So I was in Soweto the whole time.
So this is after you guys like went to boarding school?
Yeah, this is after we went to boarding school,
And
grew up
then
in
you
Durban together.
didn't see each other?
Then we didn't see each other for maybe like, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe like, 6 years, 6 years, because
Sure.
yeah, so about 6 years. Then we reconnected. I didn't know he was actually friends with the guys. Right? And then at the time, Josie was like a thing. So I'm going into college, and then I realized, actually, I met Les the one time at some thing, and I know that he knows my brother. So I used to have his landline in Bryanston. So when I was,
you used to have Les's landline.
yeah,
in
like
Bryanston.
his house landline.
Yeah.
And like then I had started coming around like my brother a lot more. So I knew that I'd met him somewhere, and like him and my brother were close. So they would see me from time to time. But I mean, like these North boys, like if you're coming from the hood, you just done.
You're done.
You just done. So I was like, hey, no. So now, fast forward, whatever, I finished college, and now I'm starting. I'm like in between all these things, Universal, whatever. And then, after Universal, I actually worked at a call center before getting my opportunity with the guys. Because now I'm in between jobs, and I'm like, I need to do something. Like
make some money.
Yeah, like my mom's on my case. It's just like a nightmare, whatever. So I ended up working at some call center in 4 ways.
Yeah.
So throughout this whole time, I just had Liz's landline, and I always used to call him and be like, yo, dude, it's Sbuda, Nipo's brother, bro. He'd be like, who's this? I'm like, it's Nipo's brother. And then we'd just be talking about music. I was like, yo, did you hear Lil Wayne's mixtape? Did you hear this? Like, and I'd be calling him every day until the one time it was just like, dude, you crazy. Just come, like, hang out, whatever. And then...
So he invited you?
Yeah, he called me. Because he was my brother's friend.
Yeah.
Initially,
Yeah, but like in terms of how the in was with Les.
Yeah, it was with him because I mean I was this crazy guy always calling him like yo, it's
and
Nipo's
Mino doesn't know
brother.
that you worked at a call center, so
he
you have access to the phone.
He knew at the time because he was like, how are you phoning me like this all the time? Yeah, so then Les eventually just invited me to his crib and we started hanging out. I mean, I knew they were shorts. It was obvious at the time. What's with the Attitude was like the biggest record. And I just kind of stuck around them. I knew what I wanted. So officially, unofficially, like we would just started going with him on the road.
At this point, it's just a friend.
Yeah, he's just a friend. So at the time, so me and Nipo and Bounce are realizing it's like, oh shit, bro, like our parents were married, so technically we're brothers.
Yeah.
So we just rode that for the longest time. We're like, brothers, like. We ended up living with Bounce, actually, funny enough, like post that era. We lived with each other for maybe like 4 or 5 years. So that's where I kind of like got really immersed into the whole culture because it was just like, me and Les were getting close, and then like obviously me and Nipo and Bongs were like, oh shit, this is crazy because we brothers, like
it's
we
perfect.
finally together, like it's
but
destiny.
At which point do you like then say on a professional front, let's do this, or are you just like of going with the flow?
No, so you're going with the flow. Maybe like a couple of years go by, and I remember Lunster used to hate us. Like he used to be like, "You loathers, you guys are just like." Lunster. Lunster we used to irritate the shit out of him, but I think we knew like what was happening. Like it was a moment. So I think it only became official towards the end when like Bounce started forming Fussy Records. Then Lance was like, okay, I can find something useless for you guys to do for this Fussy Records thing. But that wasn't really a thing for him.
Like a little hobby for you
guys. It was serious for me, like in terms of what I was learning in that 5-year period, whatever it was.
So it was 5 years?
Yeah, roughly. I can't remember like specifically. I think it might have been between post-matric, so between 2006, 5, 6, all the way like into like 2010.
What is the most trouble you got into?
I never really got into trouble. Like really? I'm not really a troublemaker, No,
you're not. Yeah.
I'm not a troublemaker, but what I can say is that I learned quite a lot with Lance. He's incredible. Even though it was from the distance, like I watched and I saw how he operated, and I just kind of soaked a lot of that information in and learned about the meat of the music business. And I was always curious why, guys thought he was so bad, or he was
everybody knew at that time even?
Yeah, I mean, like, all the contract disputes with your DJ Spus and your Zolas and stuff like that. But when you really look into it, like, he just followed everything by the book, everything by the book. And because, there was capital investment in a lot of those deals that people don't know about, he was well within his rights, I think that happens at the beginning of every artist's career, but it's also your responsibility to educate yourself so you're able to know how to navigate situations like that. So I think that was a crucial educational period for me when it comes to the music business.
So we look at that time in your life and we do like a throw forward to where you are now from a music exec perspective. What would you say the greatest or the most valuable lesson was for you? Or is for you?
It's not personal.
Okay.
It's not personal. It's business. And if we don't agree today, doesn't mean we're not going to agree tomorrow, in 2 weeks, in 6 months, or in 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just try to maintain that energy. Yeah. I just try to maintain that energy with everybody that I work with, that I come across, and value the relationship, as it comes. But yeah, I think for me that's been the most important thing that I've learned, is that it's not personal, it's just business.
So you become Sbuda Roc at this point. Please don't roll your eyes. Okay, so guys, just for context, Sbusiso and I are good friends. So I did not know until recently that what was the naming behind Sbuda. What does it mean? Tell us.
So, I mean, it was obviously like...
Because now you're Sbusiso, right? I'll call you Sbusiso.
Yes.
But people still call you Sbuda Roc.
Yeah, the majority
and you hate it.
I hate that because I feel like I'm not Sbuda Roc. So context of Sbuda Roc. So I mean, obviously, I am Jay-Z obsessed.
Yeah.
I am Rockefeller obsessed. I'm really a student of the game when it comes to hip hop, and I'm basically, I would say, I'm an alumni of the Rockefeller Bad Boy era, which was, I think, an integral part for anybody who's an entrepreneur right now in music, and especially in hip hop, because that was one of the moments when you realize, you're like, as a young Black person, you can become an executive at a very high level. So I studied a lot of what those guys did. So obviously, 2010s, whatever, I'm working with tear gas, and then social media started buzzing, whatever, Twitter. I think at that time, that's when Instagram came.
Yeah.
And like now, we had to figure out like what our, social media handles would be. And I was just like, oh, well, my name is Sbuda. And I obviously love Rockefeller. So I'm obviously Sbuda Roc.
Obviously.
Because I will definitely be working at Rockefeller like in 15 years and like I'll be the executive of Rockefeller or whatever. So yeah, that's how the name came about. It's nothing deep really. It was just like,
it is deep. It's your Instagram handle today.
It still is because I'm just like
it's your street name. It's your name everywhere.
Who has time to like change their Instagram handle 1 million times? It's like that's.
I mean, just twice.
But I think it's a good homage to really what created my obsession around, what
music.
I do and music.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Okay, so early on in your career, you start working with tear gas, right? This is after.
So this is after that period that I spent with Josie and like the Motherland crew and Get Rough and all that. So just getting our meet, understanding production, what really goes into it, being on the road, just really tapping into that culture. So by the time the 2010s rolled around, we had obviously built, a good reputation within the industry. So like obviously being around the crew like Les, Josie.
Okay.
They were very professional guys. And at the time, I think like MTV Base had just came to South Africa and the Channel Awards were a huge thing. MTV Mamas were a huge thing. So the guys were always on big stages with like the biggest African acts. So, being around that group for so long, you get to meet people and start like knowing people in the industry. Like people start recognizing it, So I think by the time the 2010s rolled around, that's when I like wanted more for myself. And obviously
Philip was here.
Yeah, Philip was here.
Feel it.
Josie was breaking up. Like, so it was like, now what? Because like everyone is done. This one is done. That one is done. And like,
Yeah.
So what's next? And I think at the Summer Awards, I had met my E and Siam Zuli, who's like my best friend till today. Siam Zuli, everybody knows him as Scorpio Sia. He road managed AKA. I think that's post me. I think that's one of his shining moments. I think in music. I met them at the 2010 Summer Awards, and it was just vibe, man. Because I think me and it's easier, obviously from Soweto, and Sia's just a cool guy. Like we vibed. So from there we developed a relationship, and then I was in between spaces, and like I guess the guys could kind of see the value in me. Then that's when I linked up with Tear Gas, and that's when I really got serious about I think this is the role that I want to like service for you guys.
This is not on an individual basis. This is you on your own. It's not aided by anyone. You're initiating the conversation. You're facilitating. You're following through. You're the one.
But the irony of the whole thing was it was never officialized. That's the irony of it.
Like it was a verbal agreement. You always say a verbal agreement is an agreement.
Yes, a verbal agreement is an agreement, but it's like, I feel like it was never looked at in that way,
What do you mean?
No, like exactly that. Like, I would, like, it's kind of similar to how I was with like Les and Kid After them.
Yeah.
It was official but unofficial.
Okay.
You get me? So it was the
So what,
same.
you're just showing up every day to what? To go to gigs?
Showing up every day, like just to be immersed in the whole thing. Like,
Are you expecting money? Are you getting paid?
No, like I wasn't getting paid.
Who is funding this lifestyle?
The guys,
What about your like? Okay, so you wake up every day and you go to work?
You don't go to work. You live at work.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's not.
It's an interesting approach.
Yeah, like we didn't grow up like that where there was offices and like because we weren't part of the formal structures. Like
I get you.
Yeah, I wasn't
everyone
working
is bringing
at
it.
Get Rough.
Everyone is trying.
Yeah, like I wasn't working at Get Rough. I was with the artists that were signed to Get Rough.
Yeah.
So it was for me to internalize that this is a workspace.
Okay.
for me to get to where I am. Like,
you had to make that decision yourself.
Yeah. So for me, it was a workspace. I treated it like a workspace. The role that I played, even though I wasn't getting paid for it or whatever it was, I had a place to stay. There was food every day, whatever the case is. So it wasn't about that. It was about being in this thing, because I knew what I wanted. I knew what the end goal was. And I was willing to do the things that other people didn't want to do to get there. So for the first 8 years of my career, I didn't get paid.
Sure.
Yeah, that's real like school fees. That's real dedication.
That is real school fees. Very different to today's world.
Very different to today's world.
Because now we work with instant gratification.
Exactly. But I mean, it's also testament to, people that come before you that pave the way. So you don't have to go through those experiences, but some people still do. So yeah, for that first sort of period, like being with such gigantic groups, because we're not just talking about
small groups now.
Yeah, we're talking about guys that basically shaped the industry musically. So also with them, it was an official but unofficial, and by that time, I feel like I was so confident in who I was, so my contribution, even when I was in the space with a KO or whatever, like I was confident in whatever I was saying.
Yeah, you're pop cultured.
Yeah, because I'm not sucking it out of thin air. Like I've actually lived it, I've studied it, like I know what I'm talking about. So it was official but unofficial. I think it was for like 2 years or whatever it was. Then I met Carol Tshabalala.
Okay, wait. So at this point, now this is your second stint as an unofficial road manager.
Yes, correct. That's correct.
Essentially.
Yeah, that's correct. So basically went from 2005, finished school, did college 2.5. So late 2006, whatever, dropped out, and then did the internship for whatever 6 months. And then I did my first stint with Josie from like early 2007 all the way through to 2010.
Okay.
Then they broke up. Then I went into the tear gas thing for like 2 years. So it was 5 and 2 of official, unofficial, basically.
Okay. And then what was the road management landscape like?
It was non-existent.
In South Africa at the time.
It was, it was non-existent at the level that it needed to be. I think. Obviously, artists always had, roadies and people who went with them, but I don't think it was looked at as like a real role or an important role, until I think our era, because, we termed it even like, you had to really like I said, like if you're studying the game, like you get to learn the terms and what roles and, to even understand that there is a road manager.
Okay, wait. Let's just go back. So, give me the terms. Give me the roles in your world at that time. What were the roles that existed?
So in my world at that time, it was your manager.
Okay.
Right. And then label executives, whether it's A&R, head of marketing, head of music, CEO of the label, head of publishing, all those like traditional roles. So publishing roles were there at the labels, but at your smaller labels like at Get a Rough, it was the manager who and the CEO who, for instance, that would be like a Lanster, and then he had somebody like a Delphine who's very instrumental. His partner and wife till today. Who runs the business with him. And then they would have people working under them, doing administration of the company, etc. But they basically ran everything.
Okay, but on the road?
So on the road, there were roadies, but I don't think it was classified as road manager because you don't want to step on the toes of the actual manager. So at the time, I don't think it was really understood. But a road manager is somebody who takes care of things on the road. So I'm an extension of the actual manager who has done the booking, facilitated the whole thing. So I'm just here to basically run operations and make sure the artists are good, whatever. So I think in
Did riders exist? Sorry, did riders exist at the time?
Hospitality riders have always existed, but I don't think to where it is now. I think a lot of that changed in 2014 when I started working with AKA. just because of how big he was, But yeah, so in my era, you definitely had guys that were on the road with the artists, but I don't think their role was really officialized and like people actually understood
defined,
what it was, the definition of that person's role on the road, So it was there, but it wasn't like a real thing,
Okay, so that's why you weren't getting paid.
That's why I said it was official, but unofficial.
Because
the guys didn't know,
no one understood how to handle it or what to do.
How are we dealing with this?
Okay.
And then I think that all changed when I started working with AKA.
Okay.
Because
so with AKA, you were his road manager.
Yes, officially. Because
what era in AKA's life is this?
So this is right before he released Levels.
Okay.
Basically, like the best time. Because I wasn't even a fan of AKA before that.
Oh, really? Okay.
No. I thought he was horrible, to be honest. Like before Levels. No, for real. Before Levels. So, so, and how I actually worked for AKA, obviously I worked with Les before my tear gas stint, right?
Yeah.
So when my tear gas stint ended, it actually ended and took me completely out of music.
Hey guys, if you're watching this and haven't subscribed yet, I'm Ntando Zigalala and I'm inviting you to join me on this journey into the world of elite talent management. Hit the subscribe button right now because you don't want to miss out on behind the scenes conversations with industry kingmakers, strategic blueprints from managers who've mastered high stake negotiations, as well as untold stories of how careers are shaped and global brands are built. Don't just watch, become a part of our community that's redefining what it means to be more than a manager. Subscribe today and turn on those notifications. I can't wait to share more industry changing conversations with you. Now I want to talk about you and AKA. So right before Levels, this is how do you guys meet?
We meet because he had already done Control with Les.
Okay.
Right? So they had just sparked their relationship, like the vibe, everything. And Keenan was just saying to Les, I need somebody to work with because he was obviously working with Fifth Season, who's Benza, and then now Great Grades also plays for me where I learned a lot. And Keenan needed somebody like just to be on the road with him because he was like, I don't know, whatever. Then Les was like, oh shit, I've got the perfect person for you.
Yeah.
Then, introduced me and Keenan. And obviously Keenan kind of knew about me at the time because I was doing my thing like outside of music. So he knew about me, like, and he knew I was always around Les and whatever. So he was like, oh, okay, cool. So then what are we going to do? Then I was like, let me be your road manager. Like I'll road manage you and just be on the road, make sure everything. And I described the whole thing to him.
Who was his manager at the time?
Was Benza.
Okay.
And I don't think he had like anybody on the road specifically like doing that, like just that, So that's how we met. And then, the rest is history.
Wait, so now for the first time ever, your road management role is official.
Like this is the first time it was official. Like I was on any kind of payroll. So imagine this is from 2008, I could say, all the way to 2013.
Now you're AKA.
Now I'm AKA's road manager officially.
What happens? What does that mean? What is your job description?
Exactly that, road manager.
Define it for me.
So road manager, you're basically an extension of the office. You're an extension of the manager. Usually now, there's booking agents and things like that, but in our era, the manager basically handled everything. Bookings, endorsements, the entire schedule, blah, blah, blah. And then I think when it comes to like the gig side of things, so sometimes, a lot of the guys wouldn't be able to make it to the road themselves.
Yeah.
If you're managing a lot of artists or whatever the case.
So then the artist usually was then on their own.
Yeah.
Unless they had like a best friend.
Or a friend or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like super official, like I said. But people had obviously assistants or whatever they had.
Yeah.
That was the first time it was contracted. And I was like, oh shit, I'm contracted to like in this role. But I was already a manager.
At the time. Okay, so this is now you're splitting your...
Yeah, so now I'm just splitting because
at this time you're managing Carol.
Yeah. Carol. Okay. So because music is my thing, I was like, I'm not like, I'll be crazy if I don't do this, you know. So in 2013, I basically became AKA's official road manager. I was on the road with him, watched him put together levels, which was incredible. And I think that era we were responsible for creating the Phenom Super Mega.
Yeah.
Because like we were just operating at such a high frequency, like, and Keenan had just effed off Costa Light the year before because I don't know, like they didn't set up his stuff like the international artists. So like we were just all like gassed, you know, like we were just all like gassed. And I had already been in the presence of like Josie and like understood like what it meant like being a superstar like in Africa, you know, because at the time that was like a big thing like for our guys to now like start penetrating Africa for real. And Josie had done that for so long, like Josie and Delet. So I had already seen that. So I like when I got Keenan's energy, I just started gassing him and I was just like, whatever. And I think at the time, the way the term super mega came from is because Don Jazzy had a song called Doro Mega, whatever, right? And like we were always like, yeah, dude, you're on the superstar mentality. Like you're actually a mega superstar. And then the Don Jazzy song like made us like kind of put those together. It's like, yeah, you're super mega, like super epic mega.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy. A lot of people don't know that, but yeah, it's a funny story on super mega. So yeah, like we were so gassed in that era. We just knew that there was something in the air. And like the industry was really about to take a different like shift.
Yeah.
And yeah, true story, like 2013, 14 just changed our lives basically forever. Like when it comes to music, I think. And the impact that we actually had with direct contributions.
Yeah.
You know, because I think the first 10 years or whatever of my career was like just being around the peripheral, contributing, but not knowing if my contributions are, you know, landing. Now that I look at it in hindsight, all of them landed. Like whether you like it or not, I don't care. All the people that I just mentioned, that I was official and unofficial about it.
Yeah, they all took off.
They know about it. They know about it, whether you took me seriously or not.
When you look back to your childhood and your upbringing to where you were at that point in time, what did your parents not know about you?
Everything.
How?
No, for real. Like everything. I never lived with my parents.
So they didn't know how great you were, the work that you were doing, the impact that you were making?
Nope.
Did you tell them?
Nope. No, because I think post high school, like my dad, you know, he was a Rolling Stone, so you know we barely had a relationship until like later on in life. My mom was obviously there, but not there at the same time. So no, they didn't really know much about me. Like they just knew me as a kid growing up, I think, being around me at the time. But I think as soon as like I was in like late high school, I don't think they kind of grasped like who I really was.
Who you really were.
Yeah. I think it only dawned on them like late, maybe like mid-20, like 2015, 16, whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
And in that time, I mean, you're with your friends, you're with your colleagues, your work has become family, you know, your family, your chosen family. Who would you say was the kindest person to you?
Muesli.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, how did you guys... Okay, let's go back. Let's go back.
Yeah.
So, Muesli is the kindest person to you, right? How did you guys meet?
Like, I was at MTV with AKA. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's how we met.
That's how you met.
Yeah.
And then from there, quickly propelled to being her manager.
Yeah, I mean, that took about a year from the time we met.
Okay.
Yeah, about a year. Year and a half or so.
So let's go back. You guys are at a show with AKA. You meet Muesli.
No, it was actually an interview.
Okay, he was at an interview. He was at a
he was at MTV for an interview.
So crazy. All your stories, all your people like are intertwined, overlap. We literally anywhere that I go with you, you know, not less than 10 people. So it makes so much sense because like everything of yours is like
it's that 8 years of official and unofficial.
It's the school fees.
We AKA was at an interview, whatever. And we met, we exchanged numbers. Yeah, and that was it basically. And then I think the reason we were in communication was because I think at a Mama's event, launch event, where Brenda was there with us as well. She wanted to do like a piece with him, whatever. So she texted me like, yo, because we had met like a couple of months before, like maybe 2 months before. It's like, yo, we're going to do this thing. Can you arrange, whatever, you know? So, and then I think from that night, I was like, oh shit, this chick's actually cool.
Yeah.
You know? So then, we started talking, progressed. Yeah, then we started working with each other.
This is before or after SPR? SPR is in existence.
SPR is actually born because of that.
Because of that relationship. Yeah. Okay, just tell us about SPR. What does SPR mean?
Sbuda Roc. I mean, I had to quickly, when I was putting the thing together, I had to just quickly come up with 5 names. So
and SPR was that one. It's a dope name. That's a dope name. Tell me, what does SPR do? What did you do? What was the vision at the time? When did you launch? When did you open?
In 2015.
2015, okay.
So, I mean, you asked me who the kindest person to me was at the time, or just in the time. And I think I mentioned Muesli because I think she was the first person in music to have full confidence in me and my ability.
Okay.
And that absolutely changed my life because, that's when I started working for myself, fully. And that's when actually music started paying me for real.
Yeah.
So SPR Projects was birthed in 2015. So towards the end of my stint with AKA, obviously I was in between him and the Cash Time family situation. So I was very close to both situations. But I was starting to get frustrated, because I felt like a lot of my ideas weren't being taken seriously, nobody wanted to make the thing official, so it was frustrating me a little bit, so I had stepped out of it. I had stepped out of just being in that environment. And then obviously post in 2014, then me and Namuzi started talking about she was like, I actually need a manager, because she had been doing great at MTV at that time.
She just won the VJ search now.
I think she was already a full year and a half into MTV. So she had already done the VMAs. She was already really doing her thing. So obviously we got close after we met during the AKA era. And we were just talking she was like, I really think I need a manager, and she would take my advice really seriously. And I think at the time VG was looking at her to rap or whatever. So I think 6 months before she signed to Cash Time, we made our thing official. And I think that was the reason why SPR Projects was born. Because I needed a structure to be able to house, my first, guy, in the music and entertainment space.
Yeah.
That's when SPR Projects was born.
What was the vision? When you, outside of housing the artist or the talent, what were you, fully talent management, or were you, was the aim to become a record label, or was it
So at the time it was just talent management, because I just knew what being a record label meant, and how much capital you needed to be able to run things efficiently, especially for an independent, because at the time I was so drummed in about independency because of just the model of major labels, and I think that's been evident over the last couple of years that the model of the major label, is really not favorable unless you at the highest level of being an artist, because then you've got leverage. So, independence for me at that time in my career was important. So, we were basically formed more as a talent management agency. But, we ended up having to like run label services because, we were distributing the music independently and we had to do the marketing independently. So yeah, it was a bit of both, but I think the core start of it was based around talent management.
Yeah, so you're building as you're going, literally.
Yeah, basically.
You're putting it all together.
I think by then I knew exactly, what needed to be done with artists. And I think just giving it my own twist, was what made it different to everything else that was going on. And, the appetite that I had for the culture, my knowledge around it, and, things that I wanted to introduce. So, yeah, it was the first time where I had the opportunity to really like just do my thing at that level.
So SPR is now formed 10 years this year, actually, 2015.
Yes, 2015.
Yeah, it makes it 10 years this year. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And you and Musli are, you're running SPR. SPR is running Muslim.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Yes. I mean, yes, actually, it worked. It worked really well. I think my run with the Muzi was extremely iconic. I think we achieved great things together. And she was the first person who believed in me, my ability, my ideas. And I think it showed like in the work that we did together.
Yeah.
I think coming together as creatives, because I think she's a brilliant mind in the creative space. Like, by the time we started working, she had already like kind of had established herself just in terms of being an impactful force, like with the younger kids. So, when we came together, I think the ideas were fresh. And it just worked. Like, we had a crazy run, solid 8 years of just like serious business operating at the highest clip. And I think that taught me a lot in terms of just formalizing things because, that was the first time I had to formalize anything, so I think that was also a big learning curve for me in terms of, the structures from a theory perspective, but now to like put them in place and then implement them, I think obviously it was a tough learning curve, but I think we did extremely great. Like we can look at some of the things that we did together and just think,
that was cool.
That was a great piece of business. That was good negotiation.
How long did it take for it to all pick up, like for it to actually take off? Where you're like, okay, we're on autopilot now. Well, not really, but we're moving.
I think a year and a half into when we started working. I think around late 2016, early 2017. I think that's when we felt like, okay, we're cooking with gas. So we signed 6 months. We signed 6 months before. She signed to Cash Time, and that was actually right at the end of her MTV contract. So a lot was happening in that period. Like we had to facilitate her move from MTV to Vuzu because that's when she like made the transition from MTV to the entertainment. So that was like one of our first big things.
That was big.
She was on an Adidas campaign with Amanda DuPont, one of our first sort of above the line like campaigns, like, for me from a negotiation standpoint, and just being like in the meat of the deal, like that was like one of my first big things. I think from negotiating, like just, an entertainer, etc. I mean, I did something before with Procter & Gamble, which we'll touch on later, but it really just took us about a year and a half to really get going. Like, I might even be exaggerating. I'm just probably a year. Yeah, it could have been a year.
So, I mean, with you guys, your work relationship is very different because you were dating at the time.
Yeah.
Right? What would you say, like a week in the life of Muzi, Sbuda, and SPR was like?
I mean, it was just like... I mean, the usual, dude. Like,
would you wake up, go to the office? Like, were you running the office at home?
Yeah, everything was kind of like, at the time, like, obviously, we didn't really have like the funds to have like an office situation or whatever. But, our living space kind of always accommodated for us to either have a creative space in the back or somewhere where we could like designate and have a working space. So I think like the first 3 years, it was just me, her, and like 2 assistants or whatever. And like...
and then who's on the road with her?
Me.
Okay, so you did the full.
I did the full thing. Bro, I even DJ'd and everything.
You were even DJing?
Yeah, I'm
sure.
like, that's one of my hidden talents. I'm a tour DJ.
Oh, really? Okay. When that you're taking pictures, everything.
Yeah, and I did that I was a tour DJ with Les for the longest time. It's
really?
Crazy. Yeah. Like I even played for Keenan at some stages, like whatever. Like, yeah, so I did everything with her for the first like 3 years, and then like I think just before COVID hit, like our team was pretty much solid at the time. Then COVID obviously chilled, but then after COVID we came back even harder, just in terms of the structure around us. I think we were operating a team of like 7 people. Or whatever.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But obviously the business had grown. I had more artists.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Now you make a decision this is working, right? You and Muesli are, she's a household name.
Yeah, I mean,
things are peaking. Everything's wonderful. You make a decision that I want to grow.
First time for him, the whole thing.
The whole thing, right? You decide I want to grow SPR. Take me through that thinking. Like,
so the thinking, I mean, that was always the vision, obviously. I think I never wanted to just have one artist. I really wanted
that's a misconception that you only had one artist, I think.
Yeah, it's a big misconception, I think, because I'm not like a glory seeker, I'm not an announcer. I'm really just like a behind the scenes guy. I just let my work do the talking. If you know, you know. If you don't, you'll know.
Okay.
Type thing. like not in an arrogant way, but like eventually, if you come across me, because like I'm not looking for people. People aren't looking out for me. I'm important where I need to be. I also don't impose myself on people. I just kind of know my role. So, it was always a conversation. I think even just being in a business and personal relationship with somebody, you always, I always wanted to give her confidence to be like, yo, I don't want to put that much pressure on you where like you're the only revenue source of this business. I am going to expand into other things, so the whole thing makes sense and, we can function properly. So I think the vision was obviously always there from the beginning for me, but I think the way it happened was just beautiful. Everything happened sort of from a natural progression point of view because it was 4 years before SPR took on another artist.
4 years?
Yeah, a solid 4 years. So we perfected our thing with Moose. She was doing music. She was doing, she was an entertainer all around, creative. So we kind of perfected that, built our credibility. And by the time we took on another artist, it was like 2019, 2020, where, we signed Costa Titch.
Yeah.
And I met Costa Titch at one of my clients' briefings, actually, because obviously during that 4-year tenure, when I was managing the Muesli, the business kind of evolved from being a talent agency only and to now kind of playing the role of a creative agency because we realized the contribution that we could make just outside of handling talent. We could also curate content. We could also build strategies. And influencer marketing was starting to come into the fold. So the reason I actually evolved the business was because I wanted to be at the forefront of endorsement deals. Because that was the one thing that was missing for me, like from a music perspective. Like, we distributed the music. We could like book shows. But like in 2016, I was like, damn, but where are all these endorsements coming from? Then I realized, oh, damn, you didn't go to marketing school, you idiots. So you don't know like who's actually handling the budgets outside of record labels and like booking agents. And so 2016, I bought a lot of dinners.
Yeah.
In 2016. A lot of dinners for, just like for the decision makers in the advertising and agency space, basically.
You networked.
Yeah.
You spread yourself.
Yeah, because after I did some research, I was like, oh, okay, wake up. Like, so then I was like, clearly, like, the business can't purely focus on talent management. For us to really expand and also be at the forefront, but also influence the decisions of heads of marketing, brand managers, etc.
From inception, basically.
Yeah, you have to be in that space. So 2016 was a big turning point for us.
It makes a lot of sense.
Regard. Yeah.
For when you just look at your career and everything that you've built for your artists, it makes a lot of sense.
So 2016 was a big 2016, 2017 was a big sort of shift for SPR Projects in that regard. We started focusing a lot more on also honing, I think, Muesli skills as a producer. So we produced and curated content, just to kind of get into that space, but as an entity. So how our deal was structured is that she was never signed to me directly. It was always entity to entity, which is something I always encourage. It's like, you can't, yes, you can sign a client directly, but it's always advisable to go business to business.
Yeah.
Because then it's just cleaner that way.
Yeah.
So that's when I think it shifted for us, and we started playing a lot in the advertising space. And then 2019 was actually the year where we kind of cemented ourselves in the space, because that's the year that I met Deshni Govender, who's now the head of marketing for TikTok Africa, and Leko, who's a brilliant strategic mind. A really good friend of mine. When I met him at the time, he was managing Mihlali, actually. He was Mihlali's first manager, and helped to kind of build to where she is today. So when I met those two, they were already fully blown in the advertising industry, and we just clicked so much. They liked my ideas, and we became close. So they taught me a lot. I owe them a lot when it comes to just teaching me about advertising, influencer marketing, and marketing just in general.
Yeah.
From that perspective. So yeah, we evolved from there, and we worked with some of the biggest brands, curating content, shooting digital TVCs, negotiating. Some
I actually remember. I remember Octave Finance was one of your clients.
Yes.
And I actually didn't know that it was your clients.
Yeah, we made trading cool in South Africa.
You did make trading cool. I'll give you that. You really did make trading cool. So, backstory, your office at the time used to reach out to us so many times to actually get us
guys, let me tell you, Linda Mtoba and Titch Tshabalala would turn down 150,000 Rand for one Instagram reel. I want you to think about that as a creator.
I did say no.
You said no all the time.
All the time. And I mean, 150,000 Rand is a lot. And you guys would come back with more money.
Yes.
You'd come back with more money. And my thinking was all the time, I can't give traders the information. I can't actually say, this is before AI.
Yeah.
We can't actually say it with our mouths that follow this platform.
Yeah,
so no matter how much money I had to maintain brand integrity, I was I was serious on that.
Yeah,
it's not about the money.
You got away with it because me and you weren't close at the time. But I think if we were,
I don't know. I don't know if I was gonna do it. Hey,
shout out to everybody who did that for me.
Shout out to everybody, and it was a lot of people. Shout out to SPR.
It was a lot of people.
You fed a lot of people. It changed a lot of people's lives. That was incredible. So then now at this time,
that's when I met Costa. So I met Costa in the boardroom of AB and Bev, and AB and Bev had commissioned us to do a spin-off campaign just before lockdown.
Yeah.
I was so devastated because that was going to be our first big piece. We shot everything. It was so beautiful. And then level 5 lockdown hit. But long story short.
Yes.
But long story short, Costa was, Disney had identified Costa for that campaign. And the crazy story about that is 3 weeks earlier, I was having a rant on social media. I never have these, but for the first time, I was just talking my shit on Instagram, and I was talking about Costa to be yo, this kid is gonna be big because he's more South African than any of you kids that are out here right now. He was just approached me and was just yo, bro, really appreciate what you've been doing, from a work perspective, and I think we'd be great together, as a team. And I think Costa for me was one of the best, creatives that I've ever worked with, because he was so intentional about everything. It made it easy to execute his vision because, he was always there with us from inception. So from the start till the end of his career, everything was well thought of as a team. Like we looked at everything with meticulous detail. Anything that we put out was thought of. Like we never just shot off the hip. It was always like designed and curated at the office, and
you could see
went through. And then we always saw it through. So I think working with him was incredible. And I think around the same time, actually, I signed Costa and Pabi Cooper.
Shit.
In the same year, actually, I think. At the time when piano was blowing up, Pabi was a unique talent in that she was like this TikTok dancer where TikTok for the first time was like, really the space where to like push music. And we actually signed her on brand management as a creative first before, we went on to work with her like on the music side of things. And
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we basically worked together from I think late 2020, late 2020 into 2023.
Okay. Of all the artists that you've worked with, who would you say has been the one that has impacted your life the most? From a work front.
From a work front. Two. Actually, I'm like three. From a work front, obviously just from direct involvement, I think Muslin, AKA, three. From a direct involvement and contribution, Musley, AKA, and Costa Titch have definitely had the biggest impacts on my career, and how it's kind of like shaped out. And then Les obviously has always been a consistent. But I think
based on those 3, 4, like what would you say like are the traits that every artist should have, like that it's imperative?
Obsession. Obsession about your craft. Because all those 3 were obsessed about their craft, and like I think if Keenan and Costa were still around, that would still be very evident. But it's very evident with Musley because
consistency.
Yeah, she's consistent. Yeah, but those 3 changed my life, like in words that I cannot begin to describe.
Do you believe that every artist needs a manager?
Every artist needs to understand that they are an enterprise. So I wouldn't say manager per se, but you need either an agency or an office where key roles are filled to be able to execute.
Yeah.
So every artist needs to understand that they are an enterprise and they need qualified people to run that enterprise.
And when you look back at everything that you've learned leading up to now, right? And all the enterprises that you've managed, essentially you've worked with multiple enterprises. What would you say is the biggest take home to somebody who's starting today?
The important thing for me that I always drum to anybody who's aspiring to be in the back end of the entertainment industry or creative space or music is education is very important. Because, there's a lot of distortion in the industry and people end up getting bad reputations based on, opinions. I think it's important for artists today to take the education and the business side of music extremely seriously. I know a lot of people always say, oh, I want to be a creative, I want to just focus on the music. But the reality is, you need to have the ability to do both.
Yeah.
Even if you can't obviously fully put energy into the one, but you need to at least know the high level basics.
Yeah.
Like it's very imperative because it gives you confidence in whoever is running the thing for you, and it allows you to save relationships. So I always stress education. Even everybody that I've worked with, I've always structured it in a way where I take you and whoever has been with you or around you, and then we give them that education for free, because at some point, you'll run yourself. Nobody is run by, one company forever and ever. Amen. Especially in this climate, I think. So education for me has been very important, where you take an artist and you keep the structure around them, but you give those guys adequate education, adequate information, adequate skills, you basically bring them in and make them part of the DNA. So they understand the business, and they're just as passionate about the business as we are, the people that are, sort of maybe at a higher role or higher level of experience than them. But education is number one because it allows you to take away any misconception about anything, and also be clear-headed when you do deals and be confident, because right now there's a big conversation around ownership and things like that, and people don't really understand, and it ends up messing a lot of, deals and relationships up. So I think the important thing to take away from that is just educate yourself that. And, these days you've got YouTube, you've got things that don't require you to like be in a theoretical space to be able to learn. So yeah, education for me is the number one, because
I mean, with someone like Sbusiso, yourself, you have like a world amount of talent and a world amount of experience. A lot of it comes from like just your international sort of contributions the things have contributed to making you who you are today. So you started, a lot of people don't know that you actually used to also manage Carol Tshabalala, right? Yeah. This would have been the same time as Tear Gas.
Well, as soon as I started working with her, I stopped working with Tear Gas. Essentially, Tear Gas and Cash Time.
Okay.
Because all my focus went there. Because that was the first time somebody said, yes, you as my manager, full on. The car is yours. Here are the keys. Drive it.
Show me where to go.
Exactly.
Which direction we are going in now.
And it's crazy that it had to happen out of music for the first time, right?
Yeah. That's very interesting.
It happened in the world of sports, which I think also changed my life drastically, because that just thrust me straight into like the highest level of everything.
Yeah.
Highest level of contract negotiation, highest level of interacting with individuals. Like it really proved to me that I was made to do this. Because when I stepped into the role, like there was no sense of nervousness or a sense of, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing or whatever. It was just like, oh, okay, the keys are here. Let me start the car and drive.
Okay, wait. You just need to give us just a backstory on that. You guys, how did you guys meet? How did it happen? And how was sports?
So we actually met in Sun City at a Coca-Cola conference that Tear Gas was performing in, and Carol was the MC at. So we're all boys are staying at the Palace. Everything's nice. Then we just like, I think it was during our downtime, we went to Valley of the Waves, and Carol was sitting like on the beach chair next to us, whatever, and we just pulled up. So yeah, that's where we met. That's how we connected. I think the following week she invited us to come watch a Chelsea game, and yeah, we just clicked from there. And
then from there, the rest is history. You're now her manager.
Yeah, I mean, but we. Yeah, it didn't happen like that, but
but yeah, like that. Yeah. How long were you guys? How long did you manage?
5 years.
For 5 years.
5 crucial years.
That's
2011 to 20.
Can't do that, like Sbusiso.
Yo.
I'm a 5 years now. I'm complicated. I go. Oh my word.
So she was the first person to believe in my ability as a manager overall, not in a specific space or whatever. She just believed in my ability. And yeah, we did crazy things in sports. Like our company was called Finesse Productions. We did productions for SuperSport. She was involved in, the biggest sporting events you could ever think of. The Ballon d'Or, NBA All-Star Weekend.
You're the only person I know that has done the NBA All-Star Weekend
10 times.
10 times. Yeah. It was my first year this year. So
yeah, niggas got catching up.
I've worked on it. I've done contracts for 2 years, and this year was my first year actually going.
Yeah, we've been doing this.
You prepared me for everything. Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah. So sports, it was crazy because like I said, I just took onto the role like a duck in water, and Because I'm a sports enthusiast, I think it was really easy for me to adapt to the environment because I really knew everything about everything, all sporting codes. I was interested in everything. I played rugby at school, so I was already like really a sports fanatic in my head. So it was easy to step in the role. It was easy to be in that environment. I already knew the language, because naturally, as somebody who's inquisitive, you even go into like sports management contracts. Like NBA contracts were always like a big thing, like NFL contracts. So, and understanding sporting contracts and stuff like that is pretty similar to music side, just slightly different in a few ways. So, that role for me, I think that was quite an important period of my career because that's when I started like seeing the world and traveling.
Getting exposed.
And like, going to the FIFA Ballon d'Or twice. Women's World Cup final in Brazil, finals, quarterfinals, semis. Like just being in those environments, I think just really elevated me and gave me confidence that I couldn't have gotten anywhere else, as a manager or whatever. Because as you can imagine, like at the beginning of my career, it was always a bit of an unsure kind of a thing for me. But I think when I started working with Carol and then segue to Musli, I think those two periods definitely like changed my life and reaffirmed it to me that I am where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where is that? Like, what do you find more exciting? Is it music or is it sports?
I think at the moment sports because, when I started it was more like on the peripheral and handling somebody around it, but now it's a lot different because, I'm a little bit more directly involved with actual athletes.
Yeah.
So I think sports now is more interesting for me. Because music, it's like I can do it with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
Like you can wake me up and be like, we're meeting Lucian Craig in 2 minutes, and I'll be ready.
Yeah.
Like I'll wake up out of my sleep.
Sports, you're like a kid again.
Yeah. So with sports, it's like just still relearning and fine tuning a few things, but it's really no different, to be honest. It's just being at a high level in the environment that you've always been like used to all your life.
Okay, so for context, Sbusiso and I are actually business partners, right? This is the first time where we have ventured into a full partnership with anyone. Actually, it's my first time. It's your first time as well.
Yes, it is.
It is technically, yeah. So contracting and everything. Basically, and then we run to the Max Sports together. Yay. So he's my business partner, I'm his business partner. And it's an interesting dynamic, because then we're both like in a space that we have never been in before.
Yes.
Fully.
And
there's a lot of learning and a lot of unlearning. We've been together now for...
I think it's, 8 months?
No, 6.
Oh, 6.
6. Could be,
I'm
6.
getting my head of myself.
Yeah, 6 months. 6 months. So 5-6 months. And it's been an interesting journey. He's the managing director to the Max Sports. And together we manage Themba Bavuma, who is our Proteas captain.
Come on, Skeppa.
And Presita, as our international superstar.
Yeah, 50 caps for Bafana. That ain't no child's joke.
Yeah, no. I mean, Presi's credentials are,
And, the crazy part about that is, when we got close and you were just telling me about it, and telling me all these things, I always used to be like, oh, dude, relax, you got it.
Every day. Every single day. They'd be like, no, man, Yantando, you've got this. It's chilled. You can do this with your eyes closed. And I'm like, you don't understand what I'm going through. It is hectic, guys. It is hectic, and I'm really, really proud and happy to have you as my partner. I think together we'll be able to achieve and are achieving really, really amazing things, What's crazy about our story, and a lot of people always ask us, is where did you guys meet? How did you guys get into it? And why are you guys doing this, And during this year and last year, Sbusiso had actually left management.
Yes. I was retired, guys, honestly. Low key. Like low key. Actually, high key.
High key.
I was very retired.
You were high key retired. Like it was done. It was
retired.
over.
I was done.
And when you used to be like I used to come to you and like because I to be honest, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd call and I'd be like, dude, how do I move from here to there? And how do I do it like this without seeming like I don't know what I'm doing? You know, what should I do? And then through the chat and everything, that's when we decided to
like
formalize our partnership. So I basically took you out of retirement.
Basically.
Right.
And on two fronts, funny enough.
What's the second front?
Sorry.
Okay.
You know what's the second front?
Well, on two fronts. What he said, I don't know.
On music too.
Oh, yes.
You wild.
I wasn't ready to say that. Okay, on two fronts, he's right. On two fronts. Two fronts. Two great projects that we're working on.
Yeah, two great projects.
Amazing stuff. You know, so how's it been being there in sports, coming back into management?
I think I'm very grateful because, you know, I don't think I was in the best of spaces. But like just to be back kind of feels great. And to do it in sports is also dope because it feels like something new for me. And I feel like what we're offering is very unique in a sense that, you know, what's out there from like, you know, sports agencies is really a little bit traditional. You know, a lot of guys are handled by like direct agents. And I think we offer something unique where, you know, it's on both sides of the coin where, you know, it's brand management, your day-to-day, you know, but like now also just taking the sports side of things seriously. Hopefully we pass our agent exams later this year. Crossing our fingers.
We will. We have to.
We have to. But I think just offering something different, which I think is not non-existent in SA, I think it's a really exciting journey to be on with you. And I think we're really going to change the landscape of sports. And that what that looks like from a brand management and just like sports management perspective. So it's really an exciting journey to kind of be part of, and I can't wait to like really get into the meat of it. And you know, to be working with such great icons like Mbambo and Percy Dow, you know, we couldn't have wished for a better start, to be honest. And I think it's definitely going to change. It's going to change the game in a big way. Because I think the plans that we have and the team that we have to implement that is just a good synergy. Yeah, we have a very good team. We have a good team. We've got good talent. We're on the right direction. So I think it's going to be an exciting year, challenging, but it's going to be very exciting.
Okay, I'm super excited as well. And I think for just the expertise and the experience that you have and the man that you are, I'm really, really excited for what our journey looks like. You know, you have touched the lives of many, many South Africans. Some know, some don't, directly, indirectly, in different ways, you know, over the years. And we owe you a lot as from the industry as well as the culture, you know. And for me, I really want to know to you, like, what is for you, what does more than management mean to you? Like,
education, because managers hold the key to really the game. I think it's our responsibility to understand what's at stake and at what level. So as a manager, first and foremost, if you decide to become one, you need to make sure that you tick all the boxes, cross all your T's and dot all your I's from an educational perspective of understanding the role of a manager, understanding the business of being a manager, you know, and the time it takes and what goes into it. So for me, more than management means education. Like, it's a responsibility for managers and you as a manager of anyone or anything to really know the game that you're in and not just like take a chance, because at the end of the day, we outlast the talent.
Yeah, we do.
You know, we can play till we're 100.
Yeah, we can do it again and again.
Know, exactly. We can play till we're 100. You know, with talent, it's always a bit of a fickle thing. It's like a young man's game. You know, there's some areas where you can treat it like golf and play till you're old, but you also have to diversify within the space. And that comes from having responsible management and a responsible team that will shape your thinking into that, to say, it's not about the number one record forever. It's not about being on the cover of a magazine forever, but you can end up becoming an executive in the space.
Yeah.
So essentially, our role and what we do is just as important as what the artist's role is, because, that's a possible exit plan for young talents or creatives that are musicians or whatever, where maybe your career might not pan out to you like 70 or whatever, but you can still be within the space, just in a different role and a different cap. So I think like More Than Management is exactly that. It's more than management, so it's something that I think as South Africans now, musicians and our talent keep taking it up a notch. We've watched it over the years, the different areas, the AKAs. Now the Uncle Waffles and the Amapiano era is just blowing us up, the Black Coffee. So the people that are working behind the scenes in that environment, you have to match that level. Like,
the stakes are high.
Yeah, the stakes are extremely high. Like, now we've got serious players in the game. So I feel like you guys need to just really pay attention to equip yourself to be able to handle that, because you don't want our talent being handled by outsiders.
Yeah, and management really is.
That's not a bad thing, but you always need somebody at home to be
who understands the culture.
Yeah,
and understands it beyond. Sbusiso.
Oh, thanks, partner. What a great interview.
It's been so good to have you here, for the fact that this is the first time you've ever sat in front of a camera.
That's crazy. I'm not going to lie.
In all the years. It's absolutely insane. I'm honored to have you here in my home.
Oh, and by the way, I named this place. We are in the Razoo, ladies and
Yes, he did name the space, the studio, basically.
Yes.
It's called the Razoo.
Love it.
And because of him, because he says that it makes you feel peaceful.
It really does.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your contribution, not only to everyone, but I will say personally to myself, in the short time that we've known each other, short but long, medium time that we've known each other, you've really changed my perception about a lot of things, and you have taught me a lot, over the time. And I've met a lot of people through you. A lot of people.
I feel like I've met a lot
How
of
many
people.
times do you introduce me and you're like, you don't know Ndando? Oh my
I
gosh.
feel like it's the same when I'm with you.
So I want to go through your phone book.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Who in your phone book is the most important person that you can video call right now?
Damn, video.
Yeah. And they answer and you're like, yo, what's up? Or whatever you say.
It's probably my brother, to be honest.
In context of people that we know.
Oh, no.
Because, at this point, I'm going to choose my mother.
Shit. Well, that's not a bad choice.
But you know what I mean.
Oh, damn, who?
In your phone book, video call, and they like, Sbuda, I'll call you back.
No. Okay, let me video call someone. That's hilarious. You better answer.
You better answer, whoever you are.
You better answer. He always answers my calls.
I'm so curious, is it?
Let's see. It's done with me. It's not saying. It is Easter Monday.
It is Easter Monday. If there's anyone that is anywhere, they're not dressed.
Oh, well, he's not answering. But anyway, my important person was Younger Chief.
Ah.
Yeah.
Very
He's my guy right
He's
now.
your
Like,
guy.
yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And that wraps it up.
Younger, you bastard, you embarrassed me.
Wow. You're not embarrassed, please. We all know. Thank you so much for coming through. I've really enjoyed our conversation. I learned so much about you that I didn't even know.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this information. I think it's the first time it will actually be coming out the way it has.
Yeah, and I love that. I love it that it had to be here on More Than Management. Guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is More Than Management, and I'm Sbuda Roc, your host. See you in the next episode.